Hey guys, it's Sydney, the Crab Queen. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about a spiritual awakening. I'm going to be kind of sharing my story on how I had a spiritual awakening and where it's led me and just all about it, what I've gone through during it and what it's like and where it leads you and what you get to experience from it and what my personal experiences have been from it and how you can have a spiritual awakening too and what kind of triggers a spiritual awakening. So we're just going to cover all about spiritual awakenings. I have been spiritual like this my whole life and I had a spiritual awakening very young, so I want you guys to know that I'm not just a random bitch like talking about all this kind of stuff. Like, I want you guys to know all of this spiritual stuff I've seen and done and everything like that. I want you guys to know that I'm actually a spiritual teacher and healer, and I started TikTok so I could show you guys that and so I could teach you guys and heal you guys and so you guys can learn things so you know who your spiritual teacher is. So let's just get right into the video. So maybe you were little and you always liked to collect rocks or seashells. In my case, I've always liked to collect seashells, and I used to have a seashell collection. I used to also have a snow globe collection, which now in my eyes kind of looks like the crystal balls and stuff. So maybe you had something like that when you were a child. Maybe if you're interested in having a spiritual awakening, you were into something like that when you were a child. If not, it's okay because we all like different things, especially when we were little. But if you ever had something like that, like picked up rocks or seashells or loved the moon or something like that. But if not, that's okay. I'm just kind of sharing my part of the story. I also was really little and I would see things, you know, spiritual things. I remember a few. I probably had more visions and like seen more stuff that my brain has forgot over time because I was little when these things happened to me. But I remember I was laying in bed when I was little and I looked up at my light and I saw a fairy, and she was looking kind of angry at me and she was like telling me to shh and stuff. I know it might sound crazy, but yes, I did see a fairy when I was little. And I also saw a woman's hand when I was sleeping. I woke up in the middle of the night and I saw somebody's hand come down and sit there. So I saw some stuff like that when I was little, just some random things. So if you guys can relate, or you might have forgotten about all of your experiences, or if you can't, that's okay. I've always had a super close connection with animals. Whenever I'd go to anyone's house, the animal would always come up to me and I'd love it so much. Every time I go anywhere and there's an animal, I'm always there for the animal. Everywhere I went, I looked at them more than just an animal. Even scary animals, I'm not scared of them, I just want to give them a hug. Also, I've always felt different my entire life. I know that's so basic to say, like, I don't know, I've always felt different, but I seriously have always felt different, and I always would wonder to myself, do other people like feel this way? I feel like a different human than everyone else. Even when I was little, you know, I felt like this life wasn't for me. But I always did try to fit in when I was a kid, especially in high school when I first started high school, and I'd always try to fit in. It never came natural to me like other people come natural to, you know, they like just naturally fit in with everyone. I definitely was one of those people that didn't fit in. I would purposely look what people were wearing and how people were acting so I could mimic those people. It was never me. Like, I would always definitely try to fit in. So maybe you've always felt like you were different and you needed to fit in, like you tried to fit in but you knew that wasn't like who you were. I knew when I was in school that it was weird. I went to school, and you guys probably think this way because you are here listening, and you know I draw in people that are like me and want to learn, and you guys probably feel this way, chances are you do. But you know, school always was a little weird to me. It never sat right with me. I'd always go to school and feel like this is weird, this is not normal. We are not here to go to school, go to work, you know, go to another big school after school so we can have a job. Like, that is not part of our plan here on earth. That is not a part what our soul needs. The education system is strange. Maybe you feel this way. I've always felt this way. Don't worry, it's all leading up to my spiritual awakening. Me and my friend called it the straight line. You know, you would go into school, graduate school, go to college, and then after college you'd have a great job, and then you'd have a family. Like, it's just like a straight line you have to follow, and that is something I definitely knew I did not want in my life. I knew from the beginning that that whole thing was super strange. Before I even had my spiritual awakening, I always thought these things and I didn't fit in, and I would think it's super strange. Also, religion used to scare me as well as the school straight line did. Religion was super weird to me. My family was Christian. They'd tell me I have to do all these certain things or else I'd die and go to hell, and the people I love would die and go to hell and burn there. It didn't sit right with me. No one would really explain what would happen after you died and you passed over. You would go to heaven. Like, everyone was like, no one knows what it's like there. It's just this place. And I was just so confused from that. I would get scared and I would go to sleep so scared every night. But if you are Christian, it's fine. I still know that there's a God. I believe in God, but I don't think that it's right to teach people to burn in hell if they don't do certain things. Also, if you guys have your own religion, I'm in no way saying religion is a bad thing. I am not religious, but I have my beliefs, and do not quit your beliefs just because of what I'm saying, by the way. This is just my input and my story. Maybe you guys relate, maybe you guys don't. So that just never sat right with me. School and religion never sat right with me. Those are two big things that were a part of becoming spiritual awoke. I knew these two big things, these two main things in life were super strange, and I didn't want to follow through with them. So that was a part of me leading up to my spiritual awakening. I wanted to know what life was besides these two things that were always taking up room in my mind, living in my head rent free. Before my spiritual awakening, I always wanted to do, be a teacher, or I even wanted to be a therapist, someone that could talk to someone and relate to them, counselor, something to help people in that way. I wanted to be a teacher, a guidance, I wanted to guide people, like a counselor or something like that. I knew I wanted to do something in that area. So maybe you guys want to do something like that. Maybe you want to be an art teacher or something like that. But I couldn't quite understand what it was that I wanted. But I knew that I didn't really want to do those things because you have to go to school for a lot of years, and it's not really how I would like it to be. That's not really something I really wanted to do, but it was there. Those seemed like the only reasonable thing that I would genuinely want to do. I knew that that wasn't my purpose. So now I'm going to tell you guys when and how I had my spiritual awakening. Okay, I did some shrooms. I'm not telling you to do shrooms. Don't do shrooms. I mean, do them if you want, but don't do shrooms because I just said it. But that's what triggered my brain. I knew I was gonna have a spiritual awakening either way or the other. I was gonna wake up either way or the other. I was 15 when I did this. I'm 18 now. I know that's really young, and it's like a drug, and don't do that. I'm not sponsoring shrooms or anything like that, but that's just personally how I had my spiritual awakening. It was gonna come to me one way or the other, but that's just how I had it. So once I had my spiritual awakening, not promoting shrooms, do not do that if you do not want, but it is a good way how to have a spiritual awakening. It's for that. Obviously don't do shrooms in a dark room if you're gonna do it that way. I was on top of a hill with my friends on a tapestry with crystals. I already had crystals and stuff. I kind of already was spiritual and waking up a little bit. I had crystals and journals and notebooks and everything like that, and incense. This trip made my brain very woke. You know what I'm saying? Don't worry, I will get to how you are going to have a spiritual awakening without the shroom part. It kind of just woke me up so hard. It literally just woke me up all at once. I realized everything. I realized why I felt different. I realized why I acted different and why I tried to fit in. I realized what school was. I realized what life was. I realized I needed to heal myself. I realized I just felt this big overwhelming sensation of I need to do something. I need to help people. I need to help myself. I feel such a big person in my life. Like, I would always view myself as just another human on earth, but I didn't view myself no longer as that. I viewed myself as like this spiritual human being, like this person that's put on this earth to help people, to help myself to grow, to help others grow. And I started to love the earth so much more. So ever since that day, I worked on myself. I journaled so much. I was way more into my crystals. I got more. You don't need crystals, of course, but I personally love crystals. They're always there for me, and they seriously do so much work, and I'm just so appreciative for crystals. They seriously just help me so much. I've learned to love them. You don't need them in spiritual work. Like, you can literally do this all with your mind, but I seriously love them, and it seriously helps me so much. Plus, they're so pretty, and they help heal me and help me. They're all on this table right here. But yeah, I started using crystals more, started really reading into them more, what they do, and I literally know every crystal name for name, healing thing now. And I started journaling more, like I said. I started getting more spiritual tools, like burning incense more, and like their use for it. I used to have them just for like the smell, and I had them, I was drawn to them for some reason, but after that I like used them to cleanse. I got the right ones, started using oils for different purposes, started using herbs. I started like using things less like ibuprofen, like trying to find natural ways to heal myself. I was only 14 at this time, realizing all this stuff, so I started very young, and I had a very young spiritual awakening. I started becoming more into zodiac signs. I started realizing my worth and myself after I learned about zodiac signs and everyone else's zodiac signs. It literally blew my brain. Zodiac signs are a way to figure out everybody. Like, once someone tells me their sign, I know them. I know how to communicate with them better. I know who they are, and it made me love myself more. It made me realize this is who I am. I'm a Cancer. I would always cry at shit, and I was like, stop crying, bitch. But after that, I was just like I'm not weird. That's who I am. It just makes you love yourself more. If you're a Libra, I've never personally asked Libras if they can never make a decision. Like, I've never been straight up to a Libra, been like, hey, do you actually not know how to make decisions? But I'm gonna use this one as an example. So if you're a Libra, you can't make a decision to save your life, and you give yourself a hard time for it, you don't have to give yourself a hard time for it anymore, because that's just who you are. That's who you are. That's okay. It makes you come to terms with yourself, and it makes you understand other people, understand yourself better. So I really started to get into zodiac signs, and I loved that. So maybe you are very into zodiac signs now. That's another sign of wanting to have a spiritual awakening or having a spiritual awakening. After I had my spiritual awakening, the negative people kind of fell out of my life, and I didn't care, and I started attracting more spiritual people. The people that would come into my life already had a spiritual awakening and would know everything that I was talking about. I would attract such spiritual beings, and we'd all have high vibrations, and we'd all vibe together, because once you have a spiritual awakening, you attract people that have already had spiritual awakenings, so you guys can talk about it. You're gonna want to talk about the world with each other, and that's what I started attracting. So once you have your spiritual awakening, you're gonna start attracting more people. The good thing about having more people in your life that had a spiritual awakening, they realized different stuff than you've realized, so you guys can communicate back and forth to what you guys have realized. You may have realized this about the world, they may realize this about the world that you may have not known. So you guys share your information, become stronger, and have more knowledge, and you guys just share this information with each other, and it's so beautiful. So the bad parts of a spiritual awakening, not necessarily bad, and you might not even have these, but for me, this was like 14, 15, 16, 17, I'm 18 now. This is all through then, what I'm talking about right now. It didn't all happen at one time, but I started having a lot of anxiety, a lot of depression, overthinking. The anxiety really got me. I would do certain things I used to do before I had my spiritual awakening, and it would trigger me anxiety, because that's not something that would happen to me before I had my spiritual awakening. So things you might have used to do might cause you anxiety after you have a spiritual awakening, and you're not going to want to cut that thing off because you're used to it, but you're going to have to because it gives you anxiety. So there's going to be a lot of things like that after you have a spiritual awakening. So if you smoke weed and now have anxiety, it's because you're starting to wake up, or you already did, and that puts you in a lower vibration, and you're a very high human being now, so it brings you all the way down here, causing you anxiety. I could go on about that forever, so let me know if you guys want a video about that, because that's a whole different thing. Stuff like that, not even like smoking, other things that you could be doing that is bad for you, like hanging out with someone that is not good for you, could be causing you anxiety now because you are a spiritual human being now, and just stuff like that. And then once you have your spiritual awakening, you start getting downloads, being more intuitive, having more vivid dreams, being a little more psychic. Like you start naturally getting downloads, which is a random pieces of information being plotted into your brain. Literally, you just randomly like had this information being put into your brain all of a sudden. Like you could literally be doing anything. So that's what happens after you have a spiritual awakening. You get random downloads of information. You know, you start to feel the room more, like more spirits, kind of like you can feel when an energy is close by. Start to learn about your angels and spirit guides like I did, and I have another video about that if you guys want to go just learn about that one. You start having all this deja vu and alignments and chills. Alignments as in you think of something and it comes on the radio, or the radio just said something and now you're seeing a sign that says the exact same thing. You start having alignments. You start seeing angel numbers everywhere, 333, 444, 555. You start seeing that information everywhere. You start getting all of these things put into your life that you're not used to, but now that you've had a spiritual awakening, it's kind of gonna be put right in front of your face. I've been doing spiritual work, healing myself, doing tarot. I see angel numbers everywhere. I get downloads so many times a day. It's to the point where I know what people are thinking. I can feel anything. I can manifest anything in seconds. It's become to that point in my life where I've been awake for so long. I'm becoming higher and higher and higher of a vibe and a spiritual human being. My vibrations were so raised and high, I wasn't even on this earth anymore. I didn't feel a part of this earth anymore. The only way that I would be able to feel fine is if I drank alcohol or wanted to do drugs or something like that. And do not do that if you feel this way. If you feel this way, just kind of go into hermit mode and rest your body, and you'll feel fine again. And the thing about my bad time with alcohol and drugs when I wanted to lower my vibrations was that my spirit guides and angels and spirituality stuck with me that whole time. It never went away. It didn't just go away because I was doing bad. Like a friend or somebody in your life would just disappear when you're doing bad. They stick around no matter what. That's why I love spirituality. No matter what you're going through, no matter what you have been through, like they're always going to stick with you. It's always going to stick with you. It's not going to leave your side. It's a with you for life type of thing. But I obviously did stop. I'm still reading and healing myself, doing spirit work and meditation and tarot, and I've learned how to do everything just so well, and like I'm a natural at healing myself and everything like that. Fast forward from all the way from 2017 to 2020, and here I am, a teacher, a spiritual worker. I want to let you guys know what I've been through. I'm so glad that I started young, so now that I'm my age and I can teach you guys. I found my purpose. I found my purpose in life. I am a healer. I am a teacher. That period in time when I thought I wanted to be a counselor and like something like that, I know why I wanted to do that, because I'm a healer. That's kind of like the same thing but very different also. I have taught so many different people. I've healed so many people. I have been put in so many situations where someone would come up to me and so I could teach them, and then they would go away. I'm just like been put on this earth to be in random situations to help people, to heal people. I went somewhere not that long ago where I met this girl and I didn't know her, but her grandma had just passed over literally a week before, and I saw something in her and she saw something in me. I started talking to her and telling her, "Are you okay? Like, you seem sad or something." She was like, "Yeah, my grandma just died." And I was like, I'm sure that she's trying to communicate, like I'm sure that she's trying to tell you she's okay. And she told me she sees like the same thing on the time every day, and I just explained to her like, yeah, those are your angel numbers, your spirit guides numbers. Yes, that is your grandma trying to communicate with you, telling that she's okay. I'm glad that I was there to tell her, and and she learned a lot of stuff that day from me. So I was literally just put in that situation that day to teach somebody, and I have been put in so many situations like that where I just meet people for one day to teach them something and then they leave. I became a teacher, I became a healer. That's why I'm trying to teach you guys, so I can teach a whole bunch of people at once. I now can read minds, literally. So much self-love. I'm very powerful. I can manifest anything in seconds. I literally just have to think about it, what I want. If I want something quick, not like a big thing, but if I want something quick, I can just manifest it so easily in seconds because I've been doing it for so long. That's why you guys should start right away. I love to learn and teach and help people now. I learned so much at such a young age, so I could be this age helping you guys, because now we have TikTok and everything like that where I can teach you guys on a big platform like that. I can see people's life purpose. When I see them, I don't just see a person, I see who they are. I see right through people, not in a bad way, not in a good way. I just see them for who they are right away. I learned how to do that, and you guys can too. And all of these people would come into my life. People still do. I just had someone come into my life a few weeks ago for literally one day so I could teach them and then they could leave, and I would keep continuing on my life. But I wanted to teach more than just one person. And you all can heal yourself also and feel like such a happy human being and healthy human being. You know, there's not a lot of things to do nowadays. We waste a lot of time on our phone and we go to sleep feeling like our day was, you know, we did nothing that day and there was nothing worth like living for. But when you find your spiritual journey and you find yourself, that's not how you go to bed at all. That's not how you spend your days. You spend your days happy. You spend your days feeling like you accomplished the day and like that you actually have something to live for. You can do spiritual stuff when you're bored too. Like you can just meditate, you can like write in a journal, like you can do all this stuff. You can heal yourself when you're bored, not go on your phone, not do something stupid. It's just a very great thing to do. It makes you feel better, it makes you feel healthier. You can connect with your higher self and figure out what your life path is, and you can do all of this by having a spiritual awakening. So without the shrooms, unless you wanted to do that, but I'm no way telling you guys to do that, but without that, to have a spiritual awakening, you just need to, I'm about to tell you guys how you can have your spiritual awakening. You just need to let the world know that you're ready. You know, let the world know that you are ready for a spiritual awakening. You can write it down. I am ready for a spiritual awakening. I'm ready for my spiritual awakening. I'm ready to learn about myself. Or you could speak it outside into the world. I am ready, world. I'm ready for my spiritual awakening. I'm ready to know more. I'm ready to learn more. I'm ready for my spiritual awakening, to know who I am, to feel people's vibrations, feel my own, learn about myself, connect with Mother Earth, Mother Nature, with the world. If this sounds like something that you want or need in your life, then do that. Have a spiritual awakening. You can also have a spiritual awakening by starting to meditate or journal a lot more, or think about your dreams after you dreamt them. Start writing your thoughts down. This will all help open your third eye, which will lead you to a spiritual awakening. You also need to stop trying to fit in if you are, and trying to change yourself for other people, and stop caring what other people think. Like, and I'm not just saying like stop caring what other people think, like don't change who you are for people, like actually don't. You need to realize that in order to raise your high vibrations, because you're not going to get anywhere with you just wanting to fit in with people, because that's just going to drag your vibrations down. So just be yourself, because we are all different. There's no standards that you have to be like somebody else. You can just be like yourself. Everyone's different, everyone's unique. And that's why I really like zodiac signs, because it kind of makes you understand yourself better and others better and everything like that. So yeah, try to tap into the things I told you about: meditating, spiritual work, do stuff to trigger it, tell the world that you're ready for your spiritual awakening, just tell yourself you're ready for the spiritual awakening. Try to communicate with your spirit guides and angels. Try to wake yourself up. Try to do things to wake yourself up, like I just explained, and tell the world that you are ready for your spiritual awakening and everything like that. Do things to trigger that. I hope you guys really like this video, and I hope you learned how to have a spiritual awakening, because I really want you guys to. My past from my spiritual awakening has helped you in somehow, in some way. And I hope you guys liked this video, and I will be back with another video soon, and I will see you guys soon. Bye.